Again, I don't see this problem as being any different from the prior problems at this point. Now, certainly they could be more challenging, but for the most part, the first three problems are kind of straightforward. They actually look very similar. I do want to claim, though, if you need to reach out to me for whatever reason, you think I made an error, or you see an error in the text, please reach out to me. My name is Ron Bannon. My email address is bannon, that's B as in boy, NNON.US. All right, I'd be really happy to hear from people that have that express concerns about errors in a document or some inconsistencies that they might be witnessing. Right, I'm going to go to the whiteboard, and I'm really going to do the same thing I did before, and it almost looks like the same problem over and over again. Right now, someone says, "Well, gee, you got the answer written over there. Is a correct answer?" Well, I'm going to assume I did the work. I'm going to assume I put a correct answer down, but right now I'm going to go to the whiteboard and just rework the problem. All right. So let me go to the whiteboard, push this thing up, and it's really going to look the same. All right. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm going to write it down. I'll write SN down for you. Whoops. And what's that going to be? Well, 1 over 1 times 4 plus 1 over 2 times 5 plus 1 over 3 times 6 plus yada, yada, yada. But I want to end at the nth term. So really what I'm trying to do is get Sn. Now look at this. And just the first factor is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to say it looks like n. The second factor, which is 4, 5, 6, that looks like n plus 3. Relatively simple. So I'm going to say an is 1 over n plus 3. And I think you know by now I'm going to split into two terms by using partial fraction decomposition. So I'm going to say a over n plus b over n plus 3. Let me multiply both sides with the LCD. You would get 1 equals a n plus 3 plus b n. I'm going to take n to be 0, relatively simple. You would get 1 equals 3a. The b disappears because the coefficient would be 0. So a would equal 1/3. Let me get my eraser out, and I'll put the 1/3 there. Let's do the b. I'm going to say n equals minus 3. You'll get 1. The a would disappear now, and then you get minus 3n. So what's b? B is minus 1/3. Write that down for you. And I think you know I'm going to do something now. I don't need this anymore. Again, some people can remarkably do that in your head. I could never do that in my head. Let me put this. Let me put this down. An is 1/3 times 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 3. All right? Or if you prefer, you can write it down as 1 over n plus 3. You may wonder why I split it into two terms. In the prior problems, because I got cancellations. This might be more of a challenge for me, though. So it's going to be 1/3. And I'm just going to, write term by term down. And certainly the group. So I'm starting at 1. So 1 over 1 minus 1 over 4. What's the next term going to be? Well, let's take 1 over 2 minus 1 over 5. Well, I'm going to write this down a few more times, right? So 1 over 3 minus 1 over 6. 1 over 4 minus 1 over 7. I think you get the idea. 1 over 5 minus 1 over 8. And I'm going to, I have to keep going. I'm sorry, I forgot to put plus signs down. This keeps going, right? And I'm going to start to write down the trailing terms. And I'm going to point out, the first cancellation I see, there has to be at least 4 terms down. So I'm going to write this over here. And let's write this down. And what's the last term going to look like? Well, it's going to be 1 over n minus, again, I'm just looking up here, n plus 3. Again, I want to repeat this. If you look at the first term of each grouping, The bottom is just going up by 1 or down by 1, depending on how you look at it. So we go here, 1 over n minus 1, 1 over n minus 2, 1 over n minus 3. Whoops. All right, how's the other term go up? Well, it goes up by 1, so that means it goes down by 1. 1 over n plus 2 minus 1 over n plus 1 minus 1 over n. All right? These are more difficult, and I would not claim otherwise. But what I'm starting to see over here, and I want to do a cancellation of terms I'm seeing, and they're kind of, separated. So it's minus 1/4, 1/4. I would say minus 1/5, 1/5. And I hope you realize that, minus 1/6 would cancel here, and you get more cancellation. So these things all cancellate. Let's go backwards and see what we see there. And I'm seeing this. Right, I'm seeing that. All right? Now, I want to point out, there's other things that are going to cancel off, right? And someone says, I wonder what they're going to be. Well, if you have to write a few things in, you write them in. Let's put this down. What comes over here? 1 over n minus 4 minus 1 over n minus 1. So I'm hoping you realize that you'd see a cancellation here too. Right? We may put back to red. Let me go back to red. Sorry about that. Right? And you keep working your way backwards, wouldn't you? So before that, there'd be an n minus 2. Before that, an n minus 3, so forth and so on. You got a lot of things left over, though. You got a lot of stuff left over. So what I want to do is I want to write down, oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. These are going to be canceling off. There'll be something over there to cancel that. So I'm going to cancel that. So what are you left off with? Well, 3 terms in the beginning and 3 terms in the end. And let's write this down, what Sn looks like to me. Sn looks like 1/3. Let's be very careful. 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/3. Minus those 3 last terms there, right? So 1 over n plus 1 minus 1 over n plus 2 minus 1 over n plus 3. Now, I don't want to simplify that, to be honest with you, but you could. And I don't know if I did in the notes or not, but I'll look at the notes later. What I want to do is write down S infinity now. And what does that mean? It's a limit problem as the n goes to infinity of Sn. And that looks relatively simple. It's going to be 1/3, 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/3. And those 3 last terms are going to disappear. The bottom just blows up. So what do you get over here? Well, I got to do the arithmetic. So it's going to be 1/3. That would be 6. Let's see, you get 6 plus 3 plus 2. You're going to get what? 6 and 3 is 9, 11 18ths. All right? So I want to go to the key, and I want to see how we did. All right? And this is something you want to do also in your learning experience, see if you got the right thing. Let me get my red pen out. And it was work, though. So did I get AN? I don't know. I'm looking at it. And what they say N is, they said it's this. Right? They also said it's this. I got all that right. Now the Sn, right? Let me see if they got that. I see the 1/3. I see 1 over 1, 1/2, plus 1/3. And I see this, and I see this. They did a little simplification, but I'll be honest with you, it's not a substantial simplification. They also did S infinity, and it says 11 18ths. So we're doing okay. Thank you.